Hey there everyone, this is Kerry Ho from thesongbirdtree.com, and today I'd actually like to do a song that for the first time I'm doing features a male voice. So for all you guys out there who have been hoping that I would someday do a demonstration on a song for a male, here it is for you. Okay, so this song is actually somebody that I used to know by Gotye, and of course it also features a girl, it features Kimbra. So I'm going to get to demonstrate both ways, how the male and the female approach this song. The greatest thing about this song, in my humble opinion, is the way that it contrasts using thin folds to sing and using thick folds to sing. Now, what am I talking about? So let me just show you. So Gotye actually begins with thin folds, and it sounds like this. Now and then I think of when we were together, like when you said you felt so happy you could die. Told myself that you were right for me, felt so lonely in your company. That was love and it's an ache I still remember. And then after the second verse, he actually changes, and instead of using thin folds, he begins to use thick folds. And this is the difference in the sound that you hear. But you didn't have to cut me off, make it like it never happened and that we were nothing. I don't even need your love to treat me like a stranger, and that feels so rough. You didn't have to stoop so low, have your friends collect your records and then change your number. Guess that I don't need that though. Now you're just somebody that I used to know. Okay, so I'm sure you could see that there was a vast difference between the way he began the song and then the way that he sang the chorus. So what do I mean by thin folds and thick folds? So thin folds is essentially when your vocal cords come together, but not the whole chord comes together. It's actually only part of it that comes together to vibrate together, so you get a thinner sound. It's smaller and it's thinner. However, the way that Gotye and Kimbra sings it, even though it's smaller and thinner, it's not weak. So for example, we really wouldn't want it to sound like this. Now and then I think of when we were together. See, that's really weak. What was happening there was I was just letting a whole lot of air just rush through my vocal cords. Yeah? So there's a way that we can practice using our thin folds, but not have it sound overly weak. And make it more difficult for us to sing. So the way you'd want to do that is to make sure that your vocal cords are still coming together firmly and that there's still a lot of resonance in the sound. So one great exercise to use to do this is a me. So kind of thinking like Minnie Mouse and singing through the verse with a Minnie Mouse sound on me. So for example, like this. Me. So can you hear how, although that's thinner and that is smaller, but it's not weak. It's not me. It's not like that. So what that requires is that you just use that Minnie Mouse sort of sound, okay? It brings all of the tone up towards the front of your face here, and it rings around here, but without it being overly loud, okay? And that's exactly what we want, the effect that we want in this song here. Okay, so that's a great way to practice the thin folds execution of the song. And then the difference between the thin folds and the thick folds is that thick folds is when your whole vocal cord comes together to vibrate, and so you get a thicker, stronger sound. So how do you practice the thick folds part? Now, one way that you could do that is to actually speak the words out in a very projected manner and then move it into your singing voice. Because when we use our thick folds, it's actually quite close to our speaking voice. So if you do that and think of more projection outwards, you should be able to get that sound. So for example, in the chorus, I'll just start speaking it out and really thinking that I have an audience to project to. So for example, like this. But you didn't have to cut me off. Make out like it never happened and that we were nothing. And I don't even need your love. But you treat me like a stranger and it feels so rough. And then from there you can go on to singing it. But you didn't have to cut me off, make out like it never happened and that we were nothing. Yeah? So there you go. That's just two different ways in which Gotye uses his voice to sing this song. And the thing is, right, he he could have actually switched it around. If he wanted to, in the verses, he could have sang it like this. Instead of singing, now and then I think of when we were together, he could have easily thought, you know what, no, I don't want to sing with thin folds, I'll just use my thick folds. Now and then I think of when we were together, right? And the chorus, he could have, instead of singing, but you didn't have to cut me off, he could have decided to sing that in thin folds. But you didn't have to cut me off. My point is that today I actually want to give you 2 extra choices in your palette, so that you could actually choose, you know, and you could use this in this song, you could use it in any song. You could actually know that you can use both ways of singing in any song, in any place. Okay, and I've just given you 2 different ways to practice it as well. So you get to just experiment with it and have some fun, and actually see how that changes the tone of your songs when you use thin folds or thick folds to sing. Okay, well, I'm not going to leave the girls out, so now I'm going to just show you quickly how Kimbra actually uses and contrasts the thin folds and the thick folds. And she's the same as Gotye at the beginning of it. She actually uses her thin folds and then she moves into thick folds. See if you can actually point out exactly where that is. Now and then I think of all the times you screwed me over, but had me believing it was always something that I'd done. And I don't want to live that way, reading into every word you say. You said that you could let it go, and I wouldn't catch you hung up on somebody that you used to know. So there you go. The way to practice a good thin fold sound is that we use the Minnie Mouse Mimi, okay? So just Mimi through the song and then put the words into that same place, and you should feel a lot of resonance in the front of your face and not a lot of breath going through. At the same time, for your thick folds, it's great to just practice saying the words out in a very projected manner and then singing the words in that same place. That's part of becoming a great singer is actually being able to have choices with the way you want to sing particular songs. So I hope that you can have some fun with those 2 choices this week, experimenting a little bit on thin folds and experimenting a little bit on thick folds as well, and just seeing the contrast and how that can make your songs more interesting. Well, if you've enjoyed this video and you would like to see more video singing lessons similar to this, I encourage you to go and check out my blog at thesongbirdtree.com. And in fact, I actually give away free and only from my blog a 9-part video series on how to sing Adele's Someone Like You. So if you're keen to get something like that as a free resource, go ahead to my website and become a subscriber, and you'll get that email to your inbox straight away, completely free. Okay, well, I hope you have an excellent day and that you enjoy singing with using both thin folds and thick folds, and that you have a great week. I'll see you in the next video.